to, that would help his business. Of course, building those projects that that we've approved would help, because their clientele are the folks that are going to be there for a long period of time, which are more of the corporate customer. And yeah, that's it.
And met with Adrian Tessier also in regards to economic development.
Yeah, I guess we've kind of, yeah, that's right. We did touch upon it. But yeah, I know it was a good meeting with her, and we'd like to continue the conversation with Jerry Hill and Kevin Mullen, just so that we get, just to let our elected officials know what we're doing here in Brisbane and kind of hear what they're doing, and so there we go.
Okay, just quickly, speaking of Mullen, Kevin Mullen, our new assemblyman, I went with the deputy city manager, and we met with him along with a couple other cities from his district, and one of the things we did was to invite him to come to the city council meeting. And he was very receptive to that, so I don't know when that's going to happen, but hopefully in the near future. This coming Friday, we're going to do a similar thing with Senator Hill. So.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
Well, we've almost been able to stretch this out to 10:30, this portion.
Yeah, well, we're finding out what's going on. I mean, it's amazing how much people are engaged in, and that we're able to share with each other. And I think that's positive. So you know what everybody's doing. And
That's good information.
Yeah, a lot of good information.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we didn't really do that much before, as far as updating.
So under communications, you may recall we decided some time ago when a communication came to the council that we put it on the agenda, and particularly if there was a exchange between the council member and somebody else. And tonight we have the very interesting communication that school board member Ken Walker put together that I think he shared on both Brisnet and Facebook. And that's in our packet tonight, in which he really gives the history of the efforts to deal with the fiscal matters that the school board is facing. The reason that I responded was that he seemed to imply that there were some reasons why they were thinking of following a lawsuit on the tax increment funding process, and so I thought it best to reiterate what our finance director has said earlier, that there really was nothing there. There was a blind alley that unfortunately, both the Brisbane Elementary District and also the Community College District was following, and it was just because some of our accounting was fairly complex, they just didn't get it. But once they got it, and then I pointed out that now we have an oversight panel, and the county auditor, controller, and the State Department of Finance, they've all agreed that what we've been doing is totally above board and correct, and so I felt it was important to note that.
Yes.
Yeah, and one of the parts that wasn't noted is the countless hours that staff put together to get that information to them on record search. And I know, Sherry, you spent numerous hours, and Hal and Clay, and Stuart, to put all this information together. And that's where the San Mateo College, Community College School Board decided to just put that aside and go forward with it. And then, of course, when their council got a hold of it, like what are you doing? So that was a good exchange, Ray. I appreciate printing it up. It was very good. It gives a lot of background. Of course, there's been a lot going on with the school district on how they're going to try and solve their issues, and certainly that's probably one of the things that we're going to be putting together in economic development report is what it will mean to the school district when Sierra Point builds out itself, to the Brisbane School District, because everybody's wanting to talk about Baylands, and of course the majority of that goes to Bay Shore, and but that's going to be a long time coming. So We think our most immediate is, A, Northeast Ridge for a school, and, from property tax value, and then also how the tax increment from the former RDA and Sierra Point is going to work, and that'll be all in our economic development report on what it will mean, dollars and cents, not only to the city, but the school district. So.
Okay, great.
Yeah, I thought what you wrote was very well stated. I was curious to know how you responded back to, I know I see it in an email, but what, did you do it over BrizNet, or did you?
No, it was a personal correspondence.
Just a personal one, okay, so it didn't go to anybody else?
No,
just
no.
directly to him, okay.
But we agreed that when we do that, we put it publicly, the publicly appropriate place to put it is on the council agenda.
Yeah. Very good, thank you.
So I have one little communication additional thing that I just wanted to mention to see if it's okay with my colleagues and the city attorney and so forth. I have been given the opportunity to write a mayor's column in the Luminary. And so my question is, how do my colleagues, is that okay with them? And is there any legal problem that I have to worry about? Or, first of all, is it okay? Do you have any objection?
I don't have no objection to do that. I think it's great you're willing to do it.
Yeah, no, seems fine to me.
You must have time on your hands.
Yeah, I know.
Having just gone through your
It sounds like to me, you got time on it.
having just gone through your ethics training, you'll know what you can't talk about.
Oh, yes.
What you can talk about, so.
For sure.
Hal will end up reminding you, Ray, you should have said that. Should have checked with me first.
General concept, I'm okay with it.
But you have to be careful, right? Looks like I better run it by you.
Yeah, no, it definitely,
I think
yeah.
we're just reporting on events in the city. There are other newspapers that run similar types of columns, I believe, so as long as you're not promoting your own position in office, but basically communicating information pertaining to the city, from the perspective of the mayor, and I think that's a column that would be written by whoever is the mayor at the time, so.
Right.
We're just not going to call it Ray's World, right?
Yeah, right.
In general terms, I think.
Mayor's column.
I'm okay with it in general
It's going to
terms.
change every year, yeah, right.
Yes.
Jeez.
If I'm reelected, it's going to really change next year.
Okay, so the last item on the regular city council agenda is oral communications number 2. Michelle.
Michelle Salmon. It's voluntarily said, I'm
Right.
Michelle Salmon, but I found this really interesting tonight. And one of the things, since we now have action minutes, and I'm very happy that the recorded record of the meetings are being posted on a regular basis faster than they were. I really appreciate that. But after hearing you speak tonight about your epiphany on certain things surrounding the Brown Act and the Ethics Committee when you went to the California League of Cities, I think that would be very excellent for you to kind of write that up and maybe even put it on the city blog, because there are things that, I'm very familiar with the Brown Act. I grew up with the Brown Act, the dining room table. But there are things that I don't know, or different nuances and what you can and cannot say. And I think that, especially since we're coming into an election year where there will be at least one new council member elected, it is very important for people to realize what the law is and what restrictions that the 4 of you have sitting up there, and that everybody has a better picture of what it is. Because we always refer to the Brown Act, and we kind of talk about it here and talk about it there. But I think it'd be really good if you actually wrote up what you said tonight. It was really enlightening, and I think it would be really good. And then my last question is, do you think that sergeant was a whistleblower or a bell ringer?
Now you're getting dingy.
The answer is probably both, huh? Carolyn?
I should have brought it up earlier in the meeting, but I am absolutely curious about how much we owe the redevelopment agency and how long it will take. I mean, is it ever going to get paid off, or, and what that means? We know, are we supposed to pay back this date at how has that changed? And I didn't want to bring it up tonight, but I'm still curious, so I'm bringing it up now.
Okay, I mean, in a way, that comes under the successor agency, but what we really owe under redevelopment is to pay off all the bondholders for the bonds that were issued, essentially to develop Sierra Point, which includes, the infrastructure and overpass into, that you've probably taken before, and all the roads, and then, of course, the marina. That was an expensive project, and there were a huge amount of funding that it required. And then because of the whole MetLife agreement, which was really put in place because there wasn't enough tax increment to pay off all the bondholders during, many years. And so now we've essentially refinanced that. So now the tax increment is in fact, covering what is owed to the bondholders. But I think we probably have about another, Stuart, 20 years before it's paid off?
$30 million.
Yeah, it's a lot of money.
Well, it was 01, that was a 30-year bond, so it'd be 31, so we're down to 18.
18,
Yay.
okay.
So on the ROPS, and you're right, it goes right into ROPS 2 on the successor agency.
Right.
The total outstanding debt of the former RDA is $40,587,002. And we show that every time we do a ROPS, and then we show the difference. So the total outstanding debt is not only the principal, but also the interest that's owed.
Right.
So when I talk about doing a $26 million bond for the RD, for the marina, that was the principal, then we have the interest. And this $40 million includes the interest. And then there's a number of other, as you said, there's money that the RDA owed the housing fund, and the RDA owes the city. And I've gone through that a number of times publicly, and I'd be more than happy to talk with anybody on an individual basis to go over it, and maybe I'll find a place on the website to put it, so that way it'd be easier for people to see. Because it's already on the website through the ROPS, but you'd have to know to look for it there.
Yeah, right, and also you
And it's
know
also
how to read it.
And it's also in the CAFR, but again, you'd have to know where to look.
Right.
So I'll try and find a better place on the website, just under finance,
Right.
RDA debt.
Right,
I can do that.
right, okay. All right, that help? Okay, great. All right, so we've come to the end of the regular council meeting. We'll take a little break and then come back to the successor agency.
Okay. Gets worse with time.